Welcome to the Township of Springfield, County of Union, State of New Jersey meeting for July 17th, 2024. This meeting is being held in accordance with the public laws of 1975, Chapter 231, and adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by a notice sent to the Star Ledger, the local source, and posted in the main lobby of the municipal building and the township website. Please join Carl Ostergaard, who is the Vice Commander of the Union County American Legion Post 228, in our Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please stay standing for a moment of silence for our soldiers overseas and at home. Thank you. Roll call.
Mayor Weber,
Here.
Deputy Mayor Laufer,
Present.
Committeeman Capides,
Here.
Committeeman Huber is absent, Committeeman Kaiser.
Here.
Okay. I'm going to request that going forward, I'm going to try to remember this every meeting, but I'm going to request every meeting that we all be very mindful of speaking into the microphones. I know human habit is to look at the person you're talking to and address them, which might take us away from the mics. Let's just be mindful of it, because I have to say I'm actually pretty happy if one of the only complaints we have online right now is that the microphones are not loud enough. I think we're doing well. So please talk into the microphones. We're going to go on to proclamations and announcements. Springfield residents, age 55 and plus. The calendar is out for August 2024. I am looking at it. It is completely full every day of the week. Numerous pickleball, bingo, exercise, bus trips, volleyball, a lot of stuff happening. Pick one up at the Chisholm Rec Center, or you can find it online. The next committee meeting is Tuesday, August 13th, 2024 at 7 p.m. National Night Out, Tuesday, August 6th at the Jonathan Dayton High School parking lot from 5 to 8. Come out and meet your first responders. Have fun on the inflatable obstacle course, bounce house, and police, fire, EMS, OEM, and DPW vehicles. Enjoy various food trucks. The rain date would be the next clear night. So it would, be the 7th, 8th, 9th, whichever is the next clear night. A lot of fun with that. New Jersey Senior Olympic Games on September 6th, 7th, and 8th, hosted by Woodbridge Township. Visit NJSO, which is New Jersey Senior Olympics, webpage for details, NewJerseySeniorOlympics.com. The Cousin's Maine Lobster and food truck and the Hitting Your Belly food truck will be at the Farmers Market this coming Monday, July 22nd. 4th of July, fireworks went over spectacular. There are a lot of people involved. We do the normal thank yous to Scott and the team that help run these fireworks and keep everything running smoothly. Sometimes the non-uniform personnel actually get overlooked. Jen Law, you did a fantastic job on the 4th of July. Thank you. Could not have been done without you. And we look forward to another one, spectacular one next year. Township extends its condolences to OEM coordinator Scott Seidel and his family on the passing of his mother, Lorraine Seidel, who was 95 and a half years old on July 11th. Lorraine was very involved in Springfield events and was an active member of the Springfield Hasada and moderated the candidates forum sponsored by the Hadassah. We're very sorry to hear that, Scott, and the whole Seidel family. Anybody got anything with that one?
She was an absolute institution in this town, and we remember her fondly.
Yeah. Alex and I had a very interesting encounter when we first met her
Yeah,
for the first time.
yeah. We met her 6 years ago, and still very active, and up until recently,
Yeah.
and still very active. So certainly, will be missed in our community, and somebody who gave a lot of time over the years that might not be remembered by all, but certainly her acts and her volunteerism have been felt. So, special person, and lived a long life, and probably very proud of her son and grandchildren.
Yeah. My sincerest condolences to Scott and the entire family, and certainly may God be with you during this most difficult time.
You know, it's funny, I'm doing the math right now. So that means when we met her, she was almost 90, still giving us the business. Like it was an interview and a half, meeting her and the crew that she was with. She was not giving us a pass just because Scott said we were nice guys. So, all right. We're going to go on to public comment, agenda items only. Public comment on agenda items only. If anybody has anything, we have no emails that were sent in. Seeing none, I'm going to close the public comment on agenda items only and just move straight to our administrator's report with Mr. John Biciclo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just want to touch on a couple things. I got an email today from New Jersey DOT. They're going to be doing work on Morris Avenue from about Short Hills Avenue down to Mizell. Mike Disco and I are going to arrange a conference call with them because the email was very vague. We don't have a starting date. It looks like it's going to be curb work and milling and paving, but we do want to get some more details. I will report back to you when we get the rest of the details on that. I wanted to touch on, we had a couple of meetings recently this week. The Gruskin Group over on Morris Avenue, right before the bridge, they're looking to do their building over. They want to paint it, add some awnings, dress it up. So I think that's going to be a nice plus for us. The building's in nice shape already, but can come in with a real nice design. So they're going to be going before planning board in order to get that done in August. I met with Sophia's. They want to do their building over. So again, we're starting to see some activity in the downtown, which is great because I think that's really going to help us. Mike Mistretta and myself met with Scotty's last week. We are just waiting for final drawings. We asked them to make some further changes. We should have those shortly. We also met on the Bank of America, and we have asked them to get us new drawings because we didn't like the density. We got that, the offer that we made to him is he's got to cut it down to no more than 30 units. So when that gets done, we will bring that to you to look at. Should be within the next week or so. I'm sure everybody was aware we had a driver had an accident and took out the Chisholm light control about a week ago. The problem there was he took out both boxes. Luckily, he didn't get hurt and no pedestrians were hurt. But the problem was the one box that he took out was not a standard item on the shelf, and it had to actually be manufactured. And that's why that light was down for a while. The light is up. We're still adjusting the timing. But in the meantime, I think PD did a great job of setting up the intersection so that we could continue to function. Also, our site up at the pool, which is called the Temporary Debris Management Area, we have to go through and get that approved. It's certified now, and that is good until June of 2029. What we use that for is if we have a storm or a disaster, that's where we take all of our brush, debris, and that kind of thing up there. Without the DEP approving that, we weren't able to do it. So hats off to DPW for getting that done. Our waterways and streams were just cleaned of all wood and brush and other debris that impede the flow of water. Most of the work was performed inside with the exception of a few areas that needed the assistance of a private contractor. We just couldn't reach it. The county recently removed an entire tree from the Rollway River by the bridge off of Milltown. So they did help us out on that also. A couple of other things I wanted to touch on. Center Street DPW, we upgraded all the lighting in the first bay in the garage to LED. We're trying to keep that building alive. I mean, it's older. It's got some issues. Garage roof is separating from at a point that we need to address that at some point. We're moving if you walked over into the building department, we've moved the wall around. We've tried to open up that office to get us some more space in there. We installed a new air conditioning unit in the party room up at the pool. Veterans Park, we upgraded all the electric throughout the entire park, including the bus stop. We had met on Johanna Way on the pumping station, and we had an objection on the person that was the winning bid. Craig took care of that for us, and I think that's on for tonight. And we'll be awarding that to the low bidder with Sovereign Consulting for $844,750. So that gets our pumping station going, and it's going to take a while. All the pumps have to be ordered. We're probably looking at a year, but we got to get that moving. Also, you'll see on tonight there's a shared service agreement with Millburn. We're splitting some cost and use of equipment with them, which has worked out very well for us. It's really it helps us tremendously. We don't have to lay out all the money for items that we don't use every day. This way we share it. It makes perfect sense for both sides. And we've had Millburn has been extremely helpful. Anytime that our DPW calls them or needs them, we had a blockage, we had a blockage this past weekend over by Walgreens, and we couldn't get it freed. Millburn came down with a couple of guys with their truck, and between them and us, we were able to break it, and we got the block taken care of. Ruby tree removal, we got those bunch of ash trees in the back of the lot that have to go. We actually had 6 bidders on it, but the lowest bidder has not come back to us. We've tried to contact him in order to give him the order. I think he's realized, I think he was a little too low. So we're going to have to go up to probably the next guy. That's in discussions right now, actually, with Craig. We'll get that straightened out hopefully very shortly. If anybody's passed by the Henshaw tennis courts, those are now finished. I like to touch on this because, again, I think, we sometimes, I don't want to say we live in a bubble, but, we're very fortunate that this town generally is very safe and it's pretty quiet. But, there's a lot that does go on in the background that people just don't know. And I just like to point out, our fire department last month responded to 319 calls in 1 month. So they're busy every month. Our PD responded to 1,031 calls. Just gives you a little idea what goes on a day-to-day basis. So, and Chief, if you want to add anything to that, you're welcome to, if I didn't point out something you would like to.
No, I mean, other than, the proactive patrols and the specialized details we have going on and, traffic concerns. I know we've had some serious accidents the past few weeks, and it's been a bit crazy.
Yeah. I just wanted to touch briefly on Patriot Way. They're putting in right now the gas line, the water line was done, or they're putting the gas line in as we speak. We were over there this morning. They're going to be starting the foundation fairly soon on that. So you're going to see that go up pretty quick. We've met, obviously, as you can imagine, multiple times with Gomes in the past couple of weeks. The sidewalk on Caldwell is now fully open. So if anybody's been over there,
It only took years, but
yes.
win is a win.
Yep, exactly. Thank you. But actually, it turned out very nice if you look at it, because that sidewalk is very wide, and I think it's going to benefit us in the long run when everything is done. And again, we're on him. We've had a meeting with him last week or so, and we have another one scheduled for next month. Once a month, we meet with the independent construction manager and make sure that we're on schedule and we're continuing to move forward. So he is making progress. And I think eventually, again, I think the thing that's very encouraging, and I know it takes a lot of time, but I really believe you're going to see the downtown in the not too distant future is going to become busy. I think we're going to get life down there, and you guys are going to be happy. I really think we're going to have an active downtown.
Some landlords are really taking pride, would you say, that
Yeah.
are starting to work and starting to want to make a change. So I think we've seen some good progress, and from the likes of now the Sophia building owner that wants to do work on it. I think we're moving in the right direction.
And that's what I wanted to say. You know, I think sometimes, you know, you look at some of these developments that are going up, and maybe everybody's not wild about them, but I think what it does do, it makes the other buildings, they realize that they have to do something to keep up, because people aren't going to rent when the building's in disrepair. So I think eventually you're going to see a domino effect, and I think you're going to see some of the other buildings will do the same. So I'm optimistic. I think we're moving in the right direction. We just have to stay the course. Anybody has any questions or comments, I'd be happy to answer.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
No.
So Scotty's and B of A is going to come back to us when,
Yes.
they've satisfied you.
You'll have Scotty's will be first, BOA is somewhere down the road. We're in the very early stages with that. Scotty's is pretty close to being ready to come back to you guys.
Okay. Chief, there have been a couple pretty bad traffic accidents on that Mountain Avenue stretch of road. Is there any way we could pay some special attention there? I mean, recently there have been a few. Mountain and Morris are obviously the two most problematic. So, thank you. If you keep a
I know my officers are targeting the Morris Avenue section that goes through the center of town, 'cause we've had some pedestrians hit. So they've been hitting that pretty hard. As far as the other accidents we're referring to, unfortunately, I mean, there was no speed involved with that. It was, not sure exactly what yet, but it wasn't a matter of a traffic violation,
okay.
so to say. I mean, I know what the speed is actually under the speed limit at that. So
Okay.
it was just unfortunately what it was.
Okay.
But, yeah, but the guys are out there on details. At least I expect them to be. They've been told to be, so.
Cool.
We are asking PD to get some quotes for some mechanical traffic devices. Lighted crosswalk signs, radar signs, stuff like that. So that is actually, that's in, and we're, you know, they're doing homework on that one to see what the prices come in at.
Also, Chief, throwing on your radar a proposal for overnight parking again. Just buzzing you on that.
Yeah, I mean, my guys are waiting to speak to the subcommittee. I mean, we have the ideas out there. We just need to
So now it's the bureau. Okay.
finalize with you guys, you know, what you want to agree to.
Yep, got it. Also want to thank Adam Lieb on 4th of July. He was, I think this is the first one that he kind of got in with, and more the merrier.
Excellent. Well, all right, that's it. We're going to move on to minutes, which are none. And we're going to go straight to new business.
Okay, ordinance for second reading, 2024-10. This ordinance authorizes the sale of undersized remnant lot not needed for public use to the highest bidder amount contiguous property owners.
Motion.
I'm trying to speak into the microphone. I'm going to make a motion to adopt ordinance 2024-10 as read by Madam Clerk, with publication in the local source on July 25th, 2024.
I will second that motion.
Okay, any public comment on that at all? Seeing none, any comment up here? Any questions, anything? Nothing?
Committeeman Kaiser,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Laufer,
Yes.
Committeeman Capides,
Yes.
Mayor Weber.
Yes.
And for first reading, ordinance 2024-14, this ordinance amends provisions of the Township Code to create the position of Public Information Officer.
We'll make a motion to adopt ordinance 2024-14 as read by Madam Clerk with the publication in the local source on June 25th, 2024, with a final hearing on August 13th, 2024.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion up here at all on this right now?
It's about time.
It's about, okay. Seeing no discussion up here, roll call?
Committeeman Kaiser,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Laufer,
Yes.
Committeeman Capides,
Yes.
Mayor Weber.
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-15, this ordinance amends existing ordinances governing certain employment positions and establishes compensation levels for the position of Public Information Officer within the township.
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance 2024-15 as read by Madam Clerk with publication in the local source on June 25th, 2024, with a final hearing on August 13th, 2024.
Second.
Okay. Discussion, I'm just going to say that, please remember, these are ranges that we are doing, so we do not have to do ordinances. Again, it is only a range.
Mr. Mayor, if I could just clarify with the clerk. If I could just clarify with the clerk, for this ordinance, the published publication is July 25th,
Oh.
correct?
Yes, sorry.
Okay. And that's for both ordinance
Yeah,
2024-14 and
Typo.
2024-15.
Totally my fault.
Thank you.
Any discussion up here on this at all?
Nope.
Okay, roll call.
Committeeman Kaiser,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Laufer,
Yes.
Committeeman Capides,
Yes.
Mayor Weber.
Yes. And we will move on to resolutions. I will ask for approval of resolutions by consent agenda, starting with Resolution 2024-178, 2024-179, 2024-180, 2024-181, 2024-182, 2024-183, 2024-184, 2024-185, 2024-186, 2024-187, 2024-188, 2024-189.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to make a motion to approve resolutions 2024-178 through 2024-189.
Second.
Okay. Committeeman Capides,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Laufer,
Yes.
Committeeman Kaiser,
Some people don't follow this script, but yes.
Mayor Weber.
Yeah, yes.
I
Can't read.
Discussion, action items.
I would like to move to approve the request by Burn Boot Camp to hold an hour workout starting at 10:30 on the Town Hall lawn on Saturday, August 3rd, and/or Saturday, September 7th. If approved, hold harmless, and certificate of insurance to follow.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I would like to make a motion to approve the New York Blood Center services to request to hold a blood drive at the Chisholm Community Center on Thursday, August 29th, 2024. Signed hold harmless agreement is attached. Insurance certificate is already on file.
Second, and sorry.
You went out of order.
Yeah, I'm
All in
sorry.
favor?
It's the script is
Aye.
tough.
Aye.
Please, real quick, before we go further, we ask every time, blood drive, if you can show up, please. We still have a major shortage across the country. They are having hours, does it say their hours at this time? No, but their hours are normally almost up until 10 o'clock at night all the time. So please, if you can, go.
I would like to move the appointment of Peter Schewitz to the Board of Adjustment to fill a vacancy expiring on December 31, 2026.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, let's move on to finance and pay some bills.
All right. I will make a motion to adopt payroll and invoices for the period of June 26, 2024 through July 17, 2024 in the amount of $7,458,347.76.
Second.
Committeeman Kaiser?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Laufer?
Yes.
Committeeman Capides?
Yes.
Mayor Weber?
Yes.
And everybody has received the June budget, the June pool budget report, the June revenue, and the June pool revenue report, and file that away accordingly.
Okay, correspondence, notice of public hearing regarding JCP&L 2022-2023 SBC filing, July 18, 2024, 4:30 and 5:30. Visit website for details and virtual meeting link. Notice of public hearing for the Board of Adjustment, Borough of Mountainside, variance for 1354 Wood Valley Road, Tuesday, July 23rd, 7:30 PM at Mountainside Municipal Building. We're going to move on now to public comment on any governmental issue. We have public comment on any governmental issue. Come on up, speak your name and address into the mic, and let us know what's happening.
Good evening. My name is Abbott Gorin. I reside at 611 Forest Drive in Short Hills Club Village. I'm here because the group of tenants that I was with, many of them couldn't make it today because it's summertime, after 2 sessions before the Rent Leveling Board, were told to come here to clarify something. At the 500 and 600 buildings at Short Hills Club Village, each apartment has its own AC and heating unit. There's no central heating unit. And we've always paid for our own heating units, our own AC. That's provided for in our leases. Usually, the past, I've been a resident for 10 years, and up until last year and this year, it was around May 1st to May 5th that the transition was made from heating to cooling. This year, as well as last year, although they said it was a mechanical problem, management did, this did not happen until May 14th. Now, we've met with management, and that occurred after a lot of demands. It occurred last week, Wednesday, from today, July 10th, where they agreed, at least Veronica Carr, who's the manager for the building premises, said, yeah, we usually did the turnover by May 5th. And of the 40 units in the 500 and 600 buildings, 19 don't have an automatic interface between the thermostat in the apartments and the condenser that services that particular apartment. Of those 19 units, we got a petition signed by 13 of the tenants that was delivered to management on June 10th, saying that we want a meeting. Among the things we want to talk about, reduction of rent. And we also made a grievance before the Rent Leveling Board, and they were unclear whether they could take a grievance such as this. The thing is, our main thing is math. Our main thing is computing whether a correct rent was obtained. We need clarification from the Township Committee. And we did argue before the Rent Leveling Board that just as rent can be computed as a service, if there's a service provided for in the lease, and in this case it was not given to 13 out of 19 apartments that we know of that was subject to this provision, that should be the proper domain of the Rent Leveling Board as well. There's also an element of bad faith here. Last year, when the amendment was made to the New Jersey Administrative Code, Section 5:10-14.4, where the requirement for landlords to provide heat was extended from May 1st to May 17th. That's the first paragraph. Paragraph 3 specifically says where tenants are paying for their own heat and hot water, and they designate a different date, the landlord must honor that date. And at the June 10th meeting last week, there was a acknowledgement from Andrew Weissman, who's the regional director of Jersey Central Management. JCM is not the owner, but they are the contracted manager for the complex, that, yeah, you're right, we didn't do that correctly. At least so far. We sent the minutes to them last Friday. I've had no comments conflicting with that assessment. I think that just as you talk about rent levels, rent amounts, that this is probably the domain of the Rent Leveling Board as well, and should be considered that, and clarification should be considered by the Township Committee so that the Rent Leveling Board can determine these matters. And I mean, I have a hard point. Mr. Weissman said his operation covers 4,000 apartments. They have an in-house legal unit. I'm sure they have counsel. Just like I read the 3 paragraphs for the amendment extending the heat season to May 15th, but where tenants are paying for their own heat, it doesn't apply. I find it incredulous that they didn't do this, and this probably should be a grievance that can be considered by the Rent Leveling Board. Because otherwise, you're dependent upon each tenant bringing their own action in small claims court. There could be different outcomes, which that shouldn't be. There should be a uniform decision here, and it's properly within the domain of the Rent Leveling Board. There's also people want to ask me questions about that, but there's also another thing we wanted. Okay. The other thing was that we wanted the township to consider that ever since the COVID outbreak, our recycling bins get overflowing. And we were wondering, we used to have a 4-bin recycling container in the 500 and 600 Forest Drive buildings. We now only have a two-size unit. Is there any way to increase the volume to 4 sizes? Is there any way? And we realized management would have to be part of this, but this was something we also would hope that the Township Committee would consider. If you want to have a copy of the amendments to the heat and hot water, I also have the NOAA weather charts.
Your 500 and 600 units,
The,
those units over there.
Yeah, the 500
that pay their own heat and.
that's right.
and
So there's 40 units altogether in the 506.
That pay their own,
Yes, absolutely.
right. That is considered into the lease, and that's actually not in question at this point right now. That amount is the correct amount, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's not an issue.
No, it's 40 units. And in the discussion with the managing agent last Wednesday, July 10th, she said there were 19 units which don't have the interface between the thermostats in the apartments and the condenser
So
downstairs.
you have no control over how high this thing, how low it goes, you just gotta pay a bill no matter how it comes.
No, we do have control, Mayor, but what happens is there has to be a cooling element, there has to be Freon or some sort of cooling element implanted in the condenser come May 1st. Now, they said they were confused by May 15th. I have my doubts about that, but it was always done before May 15th. And I was going to say, the other thing, just let me have one more minute on this, Counselor. If you look at the NOAA charts for last year and this year, in the time period between May 1st and May 15th, there are 3 days in each year where the temperature was 80 or above. Now, we now have in our community at 500 and 600, we have some senior citizens, seniors that are above 75 years of age. And we were scrambling, management didn't do this, the residents themselves were finding fans for older residents who were suffering for lack of a changeover. The changeover should have been done on time.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, Mr. Gorin has reached out to me on a pretty regular basis since this was going on. I have shared emails with Mr. Basicolo. He appears to be well-versed in the situation and appears to have some valid points, and the last thing I think any of us want was him to be caught between the rent leveling board and us going back and forth between those two entities. May I suggest that Mr. Dowd will go over this information and be in contact with the rent leveling board, or any steps that he may see fit to try to get this resolution, get this resolved, if I might suggest that.
Counselor, do you want the documents?
Sure, you can certainly hand those up. You can just put them over there and we'll get them.
I didn't want to approach directly. I used to be a member of the bar, so.
Thank you, Mayor and Committeeman Capides. We are aware, and we know that you've approached the township about these issues repeatedly. I'm happy to hear that you've made some what looks like some progress.
Yes, yes, Counselor, there has been some progress. It was disappointing in the beginning. But as of July 10th, they promised to give us an answer within 3 weeks as to when the systems would be made self-operative for the entire units. I mean, initially what was enunciated to us, well, we're going to do 12 units, and by next summer, maybe we'll have all of them done. So it was disappointing. The other thing, and I've met with the township administrator on this, is that oftentimes people get confused when they come to the 500 and 600 buildings because the apartments are not in numerical sequence. And I remember several years ago when an infant stopped breathing and first responders were running around in the middle of the night because they couldn't find the proper apartment. In other words, it doesn't go 601, 602, 603. They get spread out between two sides of the 500 building, two sides of the 600 building. We were able to find out. I was happy to hear that the first responders in the township know where to go. I remember living through an incident where they didn't. And I'm hoping things got a little bit better. But there's a lot of bad faith, Counselor. If you look at that amendment, paragraph C clearly indicates that May 15th is not an operating date for the changeover for apartments paying for their own heat and air conditioning.
So I think as the committee member indicated, we don't want to see you getting ping-ponged around between entities. This isn't something that's within the jurisdiction, I think, as you already know, of the Township Committee itself, but we'll do what we can, and I'll do what I can to chat with the Rent Leveling Board with respect to your indication that they were going to contact the township about clarification. They're a statutory body. They should have, a handle, if not now, soon, on whatever their responsibilities are. And as you, I think, already also know, the Department of Community Affairs oversees homeowners associations and complaints, both internal complaints within the homeowners association and also complaints between a member of a homeowner association and the owners. So just to kind of,
Yeah. There was some,
I know that's something that you already know, but I will reach out to counsel for the Rent Leveling Board to see if there's any, clarification that they need about what they can or cannot do. That clarification really should come from their counsel, but I certainly have no problem, attempting to, interface with them to help.
okay,
move
I
things
hope at
along.
some point somebody can get back to us about the recycling bin.
The recycling bins, that's a new item.
We'll call Giordano tomorrow and get back to you.
Okay, thank you.
Taken care of.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Any other comment on any governmental issue?
No, I just wanted to add something,
Yes,
if I may.
go ahead, Chief.
I just wanted to add on to, I didn't get an opportunity previously, just to add on to discussing Lorraine Seidel. I've known her a long time as well, and I just wanted to read something really quick, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
So Lorraine was a beloved mother, grandmother, and a great-grandmother, and as was noted, 95-plus years old. Lorraine passed away peacefully in her sleep on the evening of July 11th of this year after a long struggle with skin cancers and dementia. She was born in Newark, New Jersey in 1929, grew up in Maplewood, and was the daughter of Charles and Frances Stewart, the owners of Stewart's Luncheonette, which was in Newark. She attended Columbia High School and graduated Douglas College, now Rutgers, in New Brunswick with honors. She moved to Springfield in 1954 with her husband Joseph, who was an attorney and is now deceased, where she raised her two sons, Scott, who we all know, and Mitchell. She worked as an executive director for a number of organizations, including the National Multiple Sclerosis Society, Cerebral Palsy Society, and finishing her career as executive director for the Northern New Jersey chapter of the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. She excelled at running telethons, marathons, walks, dinners, and many events to raise millions of dollars for research into curing those illnesses. After retiring from the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, she continued her vocation by volunteering and helping the Springfield Patriot Chamber of Commerce by conducting fundraising award dinners for the organization. The clock located in Springfield at Patriots Park was purchased by the Chamber with funds that she helped to raise at those award dinners. She was a member of the League of Women Voters in Springfield and ran many local township committee candidates night debates, and I've witnessed her at some of those. And I'm sure any of the candidates now they can rest easy that, she doesn't attend those anymore. Yeah, she's a firecracker. She served on a number of committees for the township as well. She also volunteered at Newark International Airport for many years as a traveler's aide welcoming visitors to the United States. I used to see her do this all the time. I'm not sure how old she was, but she would drive 78 to Newark Airport without anybody, no assistance, just to get to the airport to volunteer her time, which I always told her she's a little crazy for doing that, but she always laughed when I told her that nonetheless. She was an avid reader and enjoyed traveling worldwide with her friends and family. She especially enjoyed her many trips to London. Lorraine led a vigorous and productive life and is survived by her brother, Dr. Richard Stewart, who lives in Edmonds, Washington, his sons Scott and Mitchell, daughter-in-law Diane, and grandchildren Adam Seidel and wife Jenny, Alexa Seidel, and great-grandchildren Benjamin and Audrey Seidel. Again, I knew Lorraine personally, always a trip to be around her, always smiling, always had good things to say about people, and she was a great part of Springfield's history. And obviously, I'm sure everyone said, she'll be missed. Thank you for the time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
You're welcome.
Fantastic when somebody, does everything, squeezes every possible second into something.
Couple points?
Yeah, I got one thing too. So you want to go first or you want to go?
Yeah,
Mine's kind of
I have
nothing big.
I have
No, no.
one thing as well.
You
So
want to finish it?
No, I'll finish then. I will
Okay.
finish.
So what I'd like all of us to look into, and I don't want any groups out there to think any more of it than it is or whatever, but I'd like to look at our traffic boxes. I'd like to look at wrapping them or having a Jonathan Dayton high school art projects for these boxes. Again, I know these boxes had a lot of flyers on them and everything going on for the past year. There's nothing but tape on them at this point, and I don't want anybody to look into this, but, they need to be refreshed and redone, so.
If you go to neighboring Milburn, they have them wrapped and they,
Warren's done it also.
Cranford.
look
There's a
good.
company that
Cranford
comes
looks
out, they
good.
either wrap them in just a solid color, you can get flowers on them,
Yep.
whatever, so I'll do that tomorrow.
And even if Jonathan Dayton has a project maybe they want to do and do boxes, our class would do a few boxes on Mountain Avenue, we'd be,
I just don't know as far as attaching it and how permanent it would be.
right,
You know,
with
that's
paint
the
and
only
stuff
thing.
like
Yeah,
that.
I mean, these are actually just a wrap, they're not painted.
Okay,
It's like shrink wrap, like they do sometimes on the cars.
maybe they can take the design. We can see. We'll
I'll get you some
investigate.
info.
I think that's a great idea.
nobody
No
has a problem with
objection.
that?
No.
All right, I got nothing else. Oh, yeah, I got nothing else, that's it.
Alex, you wanted to wrap because I had one thing.
I'm gonna wrap. I'm always the anchor. We'll stick with the program.
Mighty anchor. We are seeking an alternate to the zoning board, so any interested parties, please email Linda Donnelly, our township clerk. So I said I'd make the announcement. The announcement has been made.
Two points. One, I guess both on somber notes. Just want to acknowledge another titan of the community, and while not a Springfield resident, was closely attached to us, Bill Sumis, passed away, I believe last week, from his battle with pancreatic cancer. So everyone who doesn't know Bill Sumis, he was the chairman of the Village ShopRite and owned not only Milburn, but Springfield ShopRite and Livingston ShopRite. And always liked to introduce himself to every incoming mayor, but I've maybe through work, or I don't know what why he attached, but I was able to talk to him quite frequently, and not just about Springfield ShopRite issues, although they come up, but just about life and politics in general. He was certainly clued in all the time, and I will miss his just sometimes friendly phone call to say hello. So condolences to the Sumis family, an institution. The other point, and maybe a larger point, you know, over the weekend we saw, I think, something that doesn't we don't see frequently in our country with, and something that never happens, or at least we hope never happens, with political violence. And it doesn't necessarily, it doesn't matter what party you're on, you never want to see that. Thankfully, I think President Trump, you know, wasn't terribly injured, but unfortunately, even sadder was two individuals were gravely injured, and one who was attending the rally ultimately died. And whether I probably didn't agree with a single thing of those people attending that rally, but nonetheless, didn't deserve that, and never something that we want to see. And I think, unfortunately, over the last, it hasn't been just the last year, it hasn't been the last 4 years, it's been escalating for some time, since, you know, the early 2000s. The way people deal with politics and the rhetoric that is used is not something that we see in America. And it's something that's quite troubling. And I just hope that as we get closer to another election, consequential election, we do remember that ultimately we all are Americans. We do still all have to live here. At the end of the day, when the election's over, there's not going to be a civil war. It's just not possible anymore. So we all have to realize that, hey, maybe in the words of Bernie Sanders, politics got to get a little boring again, and calm down the rhetoric, and make sure that we're doing it all for the right reason. And when you are elected up here, it's an honor and a privilege, and I'm privileged to be elected up here. And sometimes it's troubling when you see then another member who ultimately was convicted this week, our senator who I called on to resign many months ago, and still hasn't, even though he got a conviction. So just a couple stains on our institutions, but we will survive nonetheless.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. With that said, I'm going to go for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Meeting adjourned.